Dungeons and coffee!
Greetings.
Welcome once again to my craft lab, or let's call it my craftatory. This is an old craft I made, so I'm not going to show how to make this start from finish. But this has been sitting on the shelf for a long time. I've used it a few times, but for the most part I just kept it out of sentimental value. This is one of the things I haven't given away to my friends. Just because it's one of the first, it might be the first tower I made. I'm not sure about that, could be. Anyway, this technique, or I should say the techniques I used with this tower, it's not a big secret. The hot glue gun was used to make the stone texture. These are natural rocks I glued on top. It's an old oatmeal box, or can, with a few windows in it. Complete with the still metallic sound. But you can reference some of my older videos shown here if you really want to look into some of these techniques I used. But I'm going to start from here. So I'm going to take this old, we're going to look at how you can take an old craft that maybe isn't all that, but you can take it and update it, or you can overhaul it and take something kind of plain and blah like this, and we're going to give it a little pizzazz. And how I'm going to do that is detailed in this video. So here we go. Alright, so here's what we have so far. I've just put some texture on the bottom here, made some pieces where the land will rise up just above, or I should say the marsh, where the slush will rise up just enough to where I'll have a couple pools of yucky stagnant water in there. I've put some dead trees here at the bottom, and that's just what we've done all the way around. And I don't know if you can't really tell much in the video, but the tower is leaning slightly to its left and also slightly forward. And I want to do that to give it a look like it's been sinking in the swamp and under its own weight. And on the top, we've tore a hole and we've put some vines on the left side of the tower. I've secured it with a couple of pins while the glue dried, and we'll pull those pins out. And that's what we have so far. So next, I'm just going to cover the base with some good old Elmer's glue. I'm going to do that because I'm going to put a wash on the tower, and that's going to come down onto the cardboard. We don't want that to warp too bad or anything like that, so I'm just going to coat that with some Elmer's glue. Then I'll do the wash on the tower, and I'll paint the base. I've made some brownish green wash right there, swampy looking stuff. And I'm pretty happy with it. Check this out. I'm just putting this wash over top of the old color, which was a lot of grays, and it really brings everything out. It definitely gives it more of that dark, dirty, swampy feel, and I really like that. It's definitely at least as good, maybe a little better than I thought it would do. Alright, it's still wet. But it's still wet and needs to dry, so I may have to go over it again. But so far what we have is we've done the wash, and I just kind of did a base coat of the wash all over, and I applied it thicker and heavier near the base because I'm thinking over time I like for my pieces to have a story behind them. It makes them a little more realistic and gives me more of a direction to go when I'm decorating. But so as time, the swamp water levels will rise and fall, and so that's why I wanted to, from about here down, I went quite a bit darker than up above. So this is kind of runny and thin with the wash, and then down here I put it on thicker. Again, it's still wet, so we'll let that dry, and we'll come back and revisit that. Alright, I've got the base pretty much finished. I've got some textures and some colors in there, and I've added some depth. The black spots, as you see here, that's going to be where the water is standing, and that's going to carry on over into the tower door. So normally I would use my collage posh, but I've done that in a previous video. So this morning I'm going to use my woodland scene instant water with something I wouldn't normally use on a project this small, but I want to do that just because I haven't done that on one of my videos before. So we're going to melt that down, pour that in, and we'll come back and see how that looks. It's just hot enough to where the easy water is beginning to turn from the crystals into what looks like water. So, pretty cool. Thought I'd show that. And when it's finished, we're going to take it back into the craftatorium. Alright, there we go. I put a little of the collage page around the base so it would look nice and wet. And then I got the idea that if that's nice and wet, then we should have lots of moisture on the stones too. So I applied the collage page to the tower itself. Very thin. I watered it down a little bit. And that way it's got that. There, as you can see, it looks much better with the spotlight off, natural light. But yeah, that way it's got that glistening, moist, that damp look to it. Some more of the ruins. So I might highlight a little here and there on the ground. I don't want to overdo it though. I think I'll just leave it like it is. Yeah, yeah.
Remember, keep your books off the table and keep reaching for the dice.